Hardy. So Space should find his life to be a little difficult.
Yeah, and they just dive onto the back line here. They're caught out of line of sight, and they're going to get ripped to pieces almost immediately there. Calyx and Ripper, unfortunately not enough.
Yeah.
Hybrid does bring down Kevster, but despite the early point flip, it's probably going to be going straight away back to the Gladiators.
I don't know why the London Spitfire are opting into this, but I hope over the course of this round, I think the key here is to try and just poke from a distance if you're the Gladiators.
Ooh, okay. Morvig ends up falling. I believe that was the post bomb that was committed onto him. Huge amount of burst damage now. You can see it's a nano visor. The rare nano visor coming out here to play. Kevster's recall going to get forced out. And yeah, Shax again feasting. The Space goes down. Still looking pretty solid as it stands for the Gladiators. They do win out this team fight, and with Bob on the point.
What they wanted to do. Kevster goes into the back, but it's not coordinated with any pressure from Muse. But that birdering pick onto Shax is probably going to turn things around in Gladiators' favor.
The Mines comes through the overtime. Someone's got to touch this one. London struggling to get any sort of foothold here. And there you go. Birdering getting that pick off as well. No one able to touch. It was only up to Hardy, and it's not going to be happening. 100%. One round on the board for the change of pace now as we're heading over to this particular section of Busan. And you're going to see, look at these rush compositions. The Ice Wall's already up, ready and waiting. Molfig getting caught out of position here. The Immortality Field is not good. Charge comes through off the side. A lot of damage, but not converting into any sort of kills. And you can see the Gladiators are the ones who are large and charge in control of the early team fight.
Be able to pull that off. Again, something the Gladiators struggled with a little bit previously. There's a disengage. Wow. Great punish on Reaper.
Yep. Disengage into the Amp Matrix. Way too much damage to try and hold on to be honest. The London Spitfire have to give up that team fight. Coordination coming out from London. They flip the point, and now they're going to be rotating all the way around. A Deadeye just to try and stall this one out. They have to remain careful. Earthshatter comes through. Was Hardy actually connecting it onto a couple of targets, but not enough again. The Gladiators, they understood pretty well what they had to do there. And with nobody to try and stop birdering with that Deadeye coming off from the far distant side of the point, it was a pretty...
So a little bit of damage gain.
It's really not ideal. Reaper goes down as well. That wasn't even using the amplification matrix. It's going to mean they don't have the Immortality Field. They have to get value now out of this grab. But it's a beautiful Immortality Field from Shu. What a boop! Wonderful from Calyx, taking them out of the Immortality Field and bringing them just low enough for them to just collect those kills.
Yeah, really well played. In their run was actually part of their perfect stage as well. There it is, that boop just landing right in the field that Shu had laid down.
Another early team fight being taken here by the Gladiators, and they've already taken down the main tank on the opposition side. A bit of a troubling scenario, I think, for the London Spitfire now. They just want to try and stall this one out. It seems like they realize, okay, we're going to be losing this fight. Just dying on the point, getting as much percentage as possible. And they have another opportunity to recontest that.
They do. They're losing players, staggering a little bit. Kevster oversteps his boundaries.
Not going to get the opportunity to. Yeah, he might have even been able to burst down that symbol. He was holding it that long. The Earth Shadow onto Muse. Knocks him down. The pin as well into the corner, but he's frozen up. Not going to be able to get the damage done. Muse lays off his own Earth Shadow. He does manage to find a hybrid off the side of it, and the Gladiators are more than capable of following up on that much damage as the overtime starts to tick over. No more players realistically can hold up against the Gladiators, and you can see final moments now as the players are just about stopping, just trying to throw the bodies onto the point in a last-ditch effort. But no casualties for the Gladiators. They're going to be taking this map and leading the series early on 1-0.
Yeah, there were some nice moments there for the London Spitfire, but it just wasn't enough. Michael is going to be good for doing consistent damage towards the backline of the London Spitfire, seeing if he can find a pick. I'm not really sure. I think that the Gladiators could try and run this a little more slowly, but there you go. Hardy falls, Ripper down as well. And at the end of the day, these forward aggressive defenses are just trying to tick time off the clock. Everyone knows they're going to lose eventually. It's just how many team fights can you win? And 1 minute off the clock is not that bad. Pretty decent for London. Got to get some work done behind this Amp Matrix.
Yeah, the Amp Matrix not allowing him too much. The angle's a little bit off here, and you can see the Blizzard being laid in by the Gladiators. Both the tanks locked up here, unable to do too much. And it is just buying time at this point. All set up off the back of Birdring with a nice little flank play, the Flashbang Fan and the Hammer. And the Immortality Field, a bit of an overlap there. Playing on this point with one less resource. The Earth Shadow laid down, but Muse holds the shield. Well played from him. And look at that, as Hattie goes for the charge in the end. Not going to be working out, it just opens them up still. The Blizzard is enough, and it's going to be enough to just seal this team fight away, as the Gladiators are stopped just short of the objective. A brutal place to damage now for the Gladiators. London just playing it backwards, but they need to start trying to contest. The sound barrier comes through from Moth. It gives them a huge health advantage. And the Gladiators just need to consolidate now, focus up as they take out the remaining players now of the London Spitfire. They do just that, so they are about to get this objective with 30 seconds on the clock. There you go, a nice bit of extra time as a reward to try and put a dangerous scenario. The ice wall goes up. Now Gladiator's trying to turn this again. The window comes through. Kepster has to be staying in his ice block form just to stop taking as much damage. Still, London finding the win. Just slowly but surely grinding out the team fight. And again, it was a little bit scrappy, you could tell. The Gladiators realized the importance of holding this staircase right here, the high ground control. Because it was the wall! Ended up working against them. I believe that was Blaze's. And Hardy just couldn't quite get it going for them. They force out the ultimates early as the Blizzard is unleashed.
Wow.
Ultimately not going to be getting too much out of it. Yeah.
That was absurd. I don't... Yeah, I mean, it's got to be the wall, right? But Hattie was just woofed straight up into the ceiling at the same time as Muse hit a shadow.
So low, he has to be healed up onto this car. Swinging away at him. Flashbang over the head. Hattie going to be blocking that one, and it set his team up. He's still alive, still just holding on for dear life. Moth now using the sound barrier. And with that, that should just about get the job done. And again, 30 seconds left, but the Gladiators just about winning it out.
Again, both Rhines getting close to these ultimates, but it's Ripper who launches the first one.
See the ults being used. Space tried to engage with the Self-Destruct, but gets punished off on the flank here. And Morphu already finding work done. Gladiators going to be losing this team fight out. If they can get a pick-off or a D-Mech at the end of it, they'd be happy, but they do just that. Morphu ends up using the Self-Destruct so he can get back.
Force the Gladiators back, and London are going to be able to take another fight in a close point.
Oh my goodness! The Gladiators thought they were safe, but not in the clutches of Hardy. He was forged in the fires of Europe, and he comes out. If his camera's frozen, or if he was just really feeling confident about that fight, but it doesn't work out for them. The freeze as well. The Gladiators, I mean, they're just rolling this one forward. It was looking so good for the London Spitfire, but they're getting caught out. The disengage not quite clean enough. Hybrid with the Deadeye does not get the kill. Now the sound barrier comes in. Kellex keeping his team alive. They need to get a pick-off. Beautiful wall. Is going to connect onto Muse, but the sound barrier just about again connects onto him, keeping him alive. The Gladiators again grinding this one forwards. The damage is immense, and they're finding pick-off after pick-off. No players, no casualties for them. Birdering is having a field day out here. And they are going to be able to eventually capture all the way to the end of Havana. But my word, did London make it hard for them. Let's take a listen into the Gladiators. See what they can do here. They're a little bit worried as well about Space being caught out of position, but seems like Birdering is the one who's coming out on top. Kellex getting that pick off, a bit charge into it, and this is good for the London Spitfire. An even fight means they're in a pretty good position. If they end up winning this team fight out as well, Muse solo cannot be kept alive for much longer, and Space just going to be opting to just fall on the cart to buy a bit more time, but a quicker attempt now on London's attack. Amp Matrix into the Fire Strike. They were ready and waiting for it, actually. Aided up with the Defense Matrix. Shield being held here for Muse. He has to charge out of the way of the Blizzard here. Ruby getting caught, but does stay alive still. And Moth, what is that from the off angle? Muse laying down the shatter into the Gravitic Flux. Okay, Space trying to make it work, but ends up falling regardless of that. Still, the Gladiators win out the team fight. That's the important point here. And they're going to be holding this still.
Didn't work this time around, though, but Gladiators used a lot of ults in the previous time, and they're going, wow! That's the Fire Strike through the Amp Matrix. Deadly.
That got so much value, and it's off the back because Space isn't playing the Diva. There's nothing to counteract that. He got so much work done. And it's a one-hit kill combo if you manage to hit one of the squishy targets at the back. Instant teamfight win for London off the back of that.
That is not bad whatsoever.
That is so decisive by Gladiators, but they've been pincered a little bit here. Hybrid's in trouble. They are going to connect him up. The Blizzard's traded out. And it is Gladiators still who have a massive advantage into this. London are committing ultimates into this. They want to try and turn this one around. The sound barrier, the Amp Matrix, Everything's being used, but they just don't have the damage.
I suppose what it has done is...
Swinging around here. Nice wall. It's going to be spilling them up, but booped off the high ground. And yeah, the window as well, on top of that, way too much to withstand, I think, when you're trying to push through that staircase. It's one of the most important areas of the map to hold, because it just completely gives the defenders the high ground. Very important. And now, Josh, 50 seconds remaining. So much of this...
Realized that London are fighting over this staircase, so moves over to try and block it. Great shadow block as well from Muse.
What a bomb!
Moth falls,
Really
but this
well
blizzard
played.
is enormous coming out from Kevster.
Yeah, and it's going to be locking them all into place for them to swing into. Blase immediately falls. Morphig, last one standing, 8 seconds remaining. The Gladiators will chase down their prey. And they found what's looking like another map win here against the London Spitfire. They had to work for it. They definitely did.
Now that the backline is through the choke point, though, and space is on the point, the Gladiators are looking pretty decent. That's a good pulse bomb to take down the long-range hit scan, but Shax replies with his own.
Shax evens it out, but he's got to go huge here. With Hattie going down and Birdering on the high ground, just pumping in that damage from the high ground is really, you have to dislodge him. It looks like me. Okay.
If they can coordinate something here, there's definitely potential. London have a lot of
Here we
ults.
go. To the back line, you can see them falling very, very low, but it's Calyx who's the one who goes down. The Transcendence was forced out from Shu. That was all that pressure being applied to that back line. Birdering falling so low, but eventually does get healed up. The point will flip in their favor. Now the Gladiators with 4.5 minutes to work with.
Good to stop Brigitte bashes or the rocks from being impactful. There it goes again, just gives Hattie all the space in the world. But on the other side, it's Hybrid actually that's fallen again, opening the door for the Gladiators.
And you can definitely tell the discomfort here from London. Playing this composition, the coordination just isn't quite there. The grab comes through, Transcendence as well. London are all healthy, but they wait it out, they stave it off. And now the Gladiators are leading back in. Trying to hunt for a pick off if they can get it. The beat down, Calyx will fall. Morphig might be next here into the Mega Health Pack room, going very low. Slid off by the shield as well. Find Shax trying to even it out. The Pulse Bomb connects onto space, takes him out. Not a bad scenario to be in, and now Shax is just trying to eye up his next target. 2 ticks now for the Gladiators. They have to try and start to contest this one. If the London want a shot, they're trying to hold on. Transcendence forced. Shu's going to be just backing off. Not really getting too much done with it.
There is constant pressure on this Gladiators backline whenever they try and get towards the objective. Look at that, coordination from Hardy.
Oh my goodness.
Discord orb on him.
He's so low.
This is the push and the pull. Again, Hybrid falls though, getting way too aggressive there. I don't know why he was positioned that far forwards in the team fight, just trying to follow up on the dive from Hardy and Shax. But instead, everyone on London has fallen so weak.
And Kev's up with the stick as well. You described it just then, Josh, the push and the pull of the composition. It's knowing when you can go in, use your resources, and to at least, you know, a bit of a salvage operation happening. Still, Kevza goes down early. This is the attacking side of the Spitfire, but the counter dive comes through as Muse with the power drive and takes out Reaper. A lot of damage being applied to Birdering as he's pressured out of position, forced off the high ground. Now Muse just trying to man mark Hardy, just take him out of the fight, make sure that he can't really get any sort of that disruption going.
The good coordination from London on their engage, where they had the Tracer try to pressure the backline, and then the ball come through afterwards. But the Gladiators have just stayed together and tried to really punish London's less mobile.
But it's trying to use that. You can look at the Gladiators.
Yeah, look at the Gladiators. That's what I'm saying, is that when part of the London Spitfire is able to get in through the choke point, the Gladiators are pushing aggressively and stopping the rest of the team. They're essentially driving a wedge through the middle of London, and it's working really well so far. I think for London, they need to be conscious of that. And then
Shax trying to make a play. If he can take down Birdering in the back line, it could be good for them. The Birdering's being peeled for. Shu goes down. Wonderful little play happening here as Hattie ends up getting the 2-piece. And Muse lays down the mines at the choke point to try and turn this fight around in their favor. Morphig falling. Reaper using the Transcendence to keep his team alive and also clear the mines through the choke point. And opening.
Now I'm worried about that here.
There.
Oh, that's so crucial. Kevster falling means that they don't really have that player to contest the objective as easily. The Gladiators have ults to work with, but it's going to be hard for them to be able to get back in. They do catch Hybrid though.
Ton of damage. Great mechanics there from space, but Bob does get let loose just before Hybrid goes down. See the damage and the point just being pressured heavily here. Space ends up using that grass just to take in a lot of the damage. Shax goes in with the pulse bomb, and Skewed is the one who's going to be falling. Wonderful holographic flux. The London Spitfire just punishing the aggression as the Gladiators attempted to recontest this one. All being caught up out of position. 2 ticks, nobody on the point. Birdering still on the high ground. No one's really dealing with this one, but Space eventually taken down. If Hardy's mechanics are clean, he should be able to deal with Birdering, and indeed he does. 26 health remaining.
Not even close. Hardy's got
Posture from either side. London's just trying to find their advantage. Yeah, Kevster finding a stick. What is that? Comes through, forces out the Transcendence, and it's going to be big. Transcendence not going to be there anymore, and it's going to be the free Gravitic Flux coming through. Kellex lands on the moving platform, and he's going to be gliding his way to safety. Still, the Gladiators pushing forwards. They sense that they are weak, and they're able to find a lot of pickoffs. Finding the advantage in a moment of weakness that they spotted.
Looks like now's the time.
Yeah, Bob going to be coming through. Look at this contest as well. Birdering just being really just having a hard time of it in the back line. Who's going to be okay, shield bash into the accretion, so he was stunned up and they collect the kill, but the Gladiators are coming back in with the ultimates as the Transcendence is going to be pushing them back. A huge healing advantage means that the London Spitfire cannot hold on. 30 seconds remaining.
Have the high ground anymore because they went for that aggressive play. There's a whip shot, doesn't quite stop Hardy from contesting. Kevster, he kills himself with his own pulse bomb.
He got down Morphic though, and he set up Muse for the mine. Shax desperate to try and pull out some heroics. The pulse bomb was laid down and takes out Space, but Hardy will be next. The Shoes lays down again, even more damage. Shax has to find this kill on the Shoe. Are you kidding me? It's a 3-piece for him. They might just be turning this. Right in the moment, the Transcendence is going to be coming out now to heal up the London Spitfire. And the players coming off the back of the respawns, starting to contest this. Gravitic Flux into the back line, only connects into the one target, but one might be just enough. Space being pressured to grasp, not enough. Kellex mailing him through the wheel, or through the shield, through the grasp as well. Gladiators coming back off the respawns. A better advantage into this next fight with the rally, and that is going to do it. It was looking almost turned, but not quite enough. The Gladiators, far too strong.